It's 5 o'clock and you're off the Cockle Bee Scott. Today we have as our guests Charlie Bass and Tabitha Bass. They are not related, but they are both a part of the Arkansas Trappers Association. Now, what they're going to talk about today is trapping. The different kinds of trappers. You got your nuisance trappers, you got your fur trappers, what they do, what they're going after. The goal's the same, but a little bit different. We're going to go with different kinds of traps, how to trap bobcats, coyotes, beavers, minks, all of it. We're going to cover it all. Shockley's done a little bit of trapping. Not very successful, but he's tried it. So hopefully these guys can teach Shockley how to get the job done, and we're going to learn a few things about trapping. So before we get into it, though, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and let's jump in. Well, let's get right into this. So what is the Arkansas Trappers Association? Like, what exactly is it?
Okay, the Arkansas Trappers Association is it came together in 1975.
So it's been around a long time.
It has. It's been around for a long time.
We just celebrated our 50th anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And our biggest thing that we push is conservation and education. Education being the biggest one.
Right.
And the reason for that is if people don't know, they have a perception of what somebody else has told them. So if somebody tells you something's bad, evil, or cruel, and you don't know that it's not, then you don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
And the other is to educate people on making proper sets, ethics, safety in trapping, animal welfare in trapping. And that's what we do. We have programs we put on every year. We have one-day workshops. We've got a 3-day workshop coming up. That's really a bargain for a family of 5, $60, and we put you up for 2 nights, feed you all your meals, and you get all this trapping information.
That's pretty cool.
that's how I got started.
Really?
Yeah.
It
So
is.
how long have you been doing it?
I think this is my 4th year.
4th year? So
Yeah.
you're relatively new to
Absolutely.
to the game.
And I went from brand new out of the box to killing it.
just passionate about it.
Yep. I was born on the last day of deer season in 78, and I started hunting. My dad had me on the stand the next year, and I've been an avid deer hunter my whole life. And 4 years ago when I met trapping, I was like, I can't wait
This
for
is
deer
it.
season to be over with, man.
So how long have you been trapping?
Over 40 years.
Wow.
Over 40 years. I've been in association since 92. But trapping for me started when I was actually younger than that. Back when I was in my, probably 12, 13, 14 years old, we had a little lady that lived down the road from us. She was a widow woman. Her name was Miss Edith Oliver. And she had these fur fishing game magazines. And she would loan us one. And when I say loan, I mean you had to take it back to get the next issue.
Yeah, she was holding it hostage. You weren't going.
I would read that thing from cover to cover.
Yeah.
And the unique thing about that magazine is it's here. It's not over in Africa. It's not somewhere else.
Right.
It's here in areas that we deal with.
Right.
And when you're a kid and you're reading these stories about the Adirondacks or Alaska, and these guys mushing through the snow, or they're camping out and they're catching all this fur and stuff, it's really fascinating. And so that's more what got me into it, because my dad was a coon hunter. He was a big coon hunter. That's what he did. He coon hunted all the time, and we coon hunted religiously. But the trapping part for me was when I got married to my wife, sitting over Cindy. I got married to her, and we started trapping, and I've never looked back on it. I've done it ever since, and it's just one of those things. When you start doing it, it gets in your blood.
Yeah,
it does.
It does. It really does, and it's amazing how it tunes you to nature more, because you're trying to get an animal a lot of times to put his foot in a 2-inch spot in a 100-acre field.
Which
it
makes sense. I mean, you got to be very
right,
strategical.
You're not sitting in a deer stand watching 20 deer come out to the corn pile. Right. You're trying to get that coyote or that bobcat to put his foot in a 2-inch circle in the middle of a 100-acre field, and that takes skill, and it takes patience, and it takes learning.
A lot of mistakes.
I can imagine.
You have to mess up so many times in order to get it right. But that's how you learn. You and the more you mess up, the more you pay attention. The more you pay attention, the better you get. You learn, and we use game cameras sometimes, but sometimes it's a disadvantage as much as it is an advantage.
I can see that.
And so
I can see that.
But I mean, you learn from it, and it just makes you better from from the mistakes. I mean, you can go to all these workshops, you can do all the things that we do our best to teach people everything that we know, but you're going to have to mess up on your own. Like you've
the real world, like taking it to the real world, taking it, like going to a spot and analyzing it and being like, okay, I know there's this game in the area. Where are they moving?
Right.
And then breaking it down, you know?
And it is. And you're looking at a lot of different aspects when you're trapping out there. And mistakes, like she said, you're going to make mistakes. Don't be scared of mistakes. If you have a trap that's throwed and it's pulled out here, why was it pulled out there? Why was it throwed? What did you do? Did you not have your pan tension set right? Did you not have your trap bedded right? There's stuff like that. Play in the wind. You have to play the wind. Probably more so than you do deer hunting or duck hunting. And the reason you play the wind is because if you're sitting in a big field or a woodlot or whatever, if your wind predominantly blows from one direction, you want your trap over toward where that wind's blowing from, because it's going to blow it across the field. So anything crossing the field is going to come to that scent that you're using, whatever your bait or lure is.
Right.
So you have to learn to use that wind to your advantage, especially with predators like coyotes, fox. Wind is a really key.
I can see that,
those.
especially if you're trying to lure them in.
Exactly, and that's what you're trying to do.
And you kind of got to think like them too, because in the woods, they're looking for one of two things. They're looking for something to love or something to eat.
That's right.
And so
we all.
you gotta figure out what they're looking for. Early deer season, when you got all the deer hunters throwing out the carcasses. You don't have to look very far because you know where they're going to be. Coyotes have huge travel circles, but they don't have to travel very far if they know where a gut pile is.
That's true.
And so that's where they are. But that's where the law comes in. You can't sit within 20 foot of, live animal matter. So those are good places for snares. Not so much the footholds and stuff. But and there's a lot of things that you got to take into consideration. If you put a foothold in there and you got one jumping and barking, well, the rest of them's not going to come in there unless you catch all of them at the same time.
Which is unlikely, yeah.
Right. So you just got to live and learn.
So what kind of, when I think of trapping, and I don't have a lot of knowledge going into this, so I'm going to ask a lot of probably stupid questions, but
no,
as far as trapping goes, I know that people trap for reasons like, hey, I'm trying to protect my turkeys, I'm trying to get rid of some of the coyotes. What types of trappers are there? And what's their goals?
You have several types of trappers. You have the nuisance guys, and their goals are that they're making money, but they're also removing a problem for somebody.
Right.
And there's a couple different types of those. You have the ones that are doing the beaver damage control work for the timber companies. You also have the ones that do it in the cities, getting rid of the raccoon out of somebody's attic or the squirrels out of somebody's attic.
I gotcha.
But then you have the backyard trappers, the guy, like you said, that's got chickens or, somebody like that. They got chickens or stuff. They want to just get that thing caught. They don't want it there killing their chickens, get rid of it. But then you have the trappers, like you said a while ago, to get rid of to help your turkey populations.
That's how we got started.
Those trappers right there, you're going in mainly to remove the nest raiders. That's the biggest thing you're going to have with turkeys, and that's your skunks, your raccoons, and your possums. Because if they come across a nest, that's what they're going to do.
Right.
And they'll kill especially the raccoons. They'll kill a hen turkey in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's how my husband and I got started.
Really?
Yeah. He actually proposed to me in the woods while we were turkey hunting because I could hear turkeys and he couldn't because he worked in the logwoods for a long time.
That's so funny. His ears are shot.
Yeah. And so he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna hang on to her. She can hear them, a mile away."
That's a pretty good idea, actually.
Yeah. And but we couldn't hardly find a turkey. I mean, we had several guys.
Numbers were down.
Yeah, and they're like, if somebody hears one, by the time you get to it, there's two or three other people there, and we're like, we got to do something. So we went to the workshop. We found it was advertised on Facebook, and we went to the workshop, and we left there with half a dozen footholds, and we put them out. And I'm cheap. Now my husband, he'll spend money on anything, and I'm like, just don't tell me how much it costs. I don't want to know.
Right.
So I get home, there's a box on the porch. By the end of the season, we had like 75 traps. and that's a lot.
Got into it fast.
Yeah, like real fast.
Yeah.
And man, we just loved it. And we got into it for the nest raiders, for the turkeys. But when you start catching coons and possums, you're like disappointed because now you want the coyotes and
You
the
want the big
bobcats
game,
and the
yeah.
fox.
And they're a lot harder to catch.
They
The
are.
coyotes are smart.
Well, and because we hunt pine timber and gravel roads, they run the gravel roads. I mean, that's just what they do. And, you know, then you got to learn how to set the gravel roads because if they're running the middle of the road and they don't like the smell that you got out, they're
Yeah.
not coming to you.
You're not going to catch them.
And you got to figure out how to get them over there. And so it's, like I said a while ago, you know, you got to make mistakes to learn. And it's been a learning process, but it is absolutely awesome. It's like Christmas morning.
Oh, yeah, going out there. Because
Yes.
you could have one, you could not. You know,
Right.
every time you go out there, unless you got a camera on you, you're like,
Right.
I could have all my traps full.
That's right.
Today could be the day.
And we
It
have
is.
8 grandkids, and 6 of them trap with us. And man,
But it's a lot of fun.
the smile on their face. 2 of them caught one a couple of weekends ago, and they're just like through the roof. It's actually we made a YouTube about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know, you see like on TV shows trapping, you know, and skinning out for furs.
Yes.
Walk me through the fur game. Like the trapper that's going after fur. What's he exactly going after?
He's the fur trapper today is going after usually the furs that are worth the most money.
And what is that right now?
Right now, you're looking at beaver, otter, and
Bobcat.
bobcat,
Beaver,
and skunk.
otter,
Skunk
bobcat.
right now is probably the most valuable in our area.
And what is the reason for that?
It
Like where does the
Let's,
skunk fur go?
okay. Let's go. Let's go. This is going to be a weird one for you guys. I'm going to tell you right now. You're gonna freak out on this probably a little bit. But back in June, there was a sale. One of the big fur sales they have in Canada. Skunks averaged $80 a piece.
$80 a piece, dude.
Here's
That's
here's the
crazy.
thing. All they wanted was the tails.
Really?
They didn't want the rest of the hide. They just wanted the tails. Overseas, over there somewhere in one of those countries, there's a sect of the Jewish community, and they wear these big hats. And these big hats are made out of the tails of these different fur bearers. And it goes back even further than that. It goes back hundreds of years ago. There was a emperor or king or somebody was trying to humiliate them so he could tell them apart, and he made them wear an animal tail. So they just turned it into a tradition. Now they make these big hats.
Really?
And it takes a lot of tails to make one of those hats.
Probably expensive hat, huh?
They are. And so that's what's driving that market right now. Is it a niche market? Probably for a little while, a few years? Yes, it's probably going to be a niche market for a few years. It's kind of like what a certain TV show did to beaver a few years ago on the hatter market. It drove that hatter market, and beaver prices were through the roof. They were high for us.
Yeah, it was real nice.
And
Couple years.
all because of a cowboy hat. You can guess the show.
Yeah.
And that drove that market for a few years.
So it goes up and down. So
It does.
The furs, I mean, it's kind of like supply and demand. I imagine
is. It
if
is.
there's a big demand for something specific, like the skunk tails, for example, then I imagine the price will go up.
Right. At one year it was otter. Otter prices were up in the $100 plus range just because of the Tibetans over there. They made ceremonial deals out of them. So it's whatever that market is driving, whether it's fashion, whether it's ceremonial, whether it's whatever that market is what's driving that price.
That makes sense.
When you see those high prices. Right now, our cat prices stay fairly steady. They'll average $50. But you get out west, you can get into those $1,000 cats. One cat for $1,000. But if you ever look at one of their cats are bigger than ours.
Right.
And they buy a cat strictly by the belly. They do not buy it. It's strictly by that belly. That's
Really?
what they buy a cat by, yes. How wide it is and how many spots is on it. That's how they buy cats.
But at the end of the day, trapping is the only hobby that I have that I make money on.
That's probably, I believe that.
Yeah.
There's not many
It
hobbies
is.
that I do that I can say I turned into money.
And the crazy thing is, back in the 70s or whatever, people did this for a job.
living.
Yeah, and
Yes,
those
sir,
guys,
yes.
those guys weren't giving out any information. They weren't telling you how to set a trap, where to go, nothing.
Which could have inevitably hurt the sport as far as
Yeah.
getting awareness and
Right.
knowing about it.
Yeah.
Because like if somebody really good at it, it's not going to give their secrets up.
Right. Well, then when the prices dropped out, people stopped doing it, and the predators started overrunning everything, and populations got out of whack, and then people started doing it back out of necessity, and the money is just a bonus. It's not necessarily what drives everyone. Now, some people it does. And at this point, I'm teaching my grandkids to trap, and they don't know nothing about money. I'm teaching the conservation side of it, and we got to do this, and and they're little, so like I was explaining, we got to do this for the deer and the turkey. Well, we run our traps and we didn't catch anything, and my granddaughter's like, she's 4 or 5, and she started crying, and she said, but we didn't catch them, they're gonna eat all our turkeys. And I'm like, baby, we're coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, they won today, we're gonna win tomorrow.
Yeah.
But and the one thing with trapping that really sets trapping apart from other outdoor activities, such as say duck hunting or deer hunting or any of those, is we're the only group that has had our equipment BMP tested, which is best management practices. And what that is they went in there and tested all these different traps in different states, and they tested these traps to see which ones performed the best and which ones did the least harm to an animal. Because it was all about animal welfare.
Right.
And by doing that, our equipment that we have today is way better than what they had, say, 30 years ago or even 20 years ago or 40 years ago. So the traps that are coming out now, a lot of these traps are used in wildlife studies where they'll catch animals and then they'll release that animal unharmed.
Right.
And people will sit there and tell you, they'll go, oh, that trap's so cruel, it's going to cut their feet off and all that. That's not what that trap's designed to do. It's designed to hold that animal.
To hold them.
In that place. It's no different than putting a leash on your dog or anything like that. You're holding that animal in that spot until you can get back to it, and then you can, if you need to release it, you can release it, or you can, harvest that animal for the fur.
That makes sense. That does make sense. And, I seen a video. And the only reason I seen this video is because my son Briggs just loves anything hunting related. We're just going through YouTube just watching it. And they were in Maine, and they were trapping bears in Maine, nuisance bears.
The only state.
And, well, it was talking about how, like when I think of a bear trap, I think of like the big metal steel,
teeth,
crush them trap. And that's not legal in Maine. That's what they're talking about.
It's
you
not
gotta
legal
use
anywhere.
The snares
that's
or whatever.
Not a thing anymore.
The little foot snare or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was cool because when I think of traps, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
I think
especially
of
bear trap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not been that long ago that they could still use those new house bear traps. And most people see a bear trap, they're thinking that great big, but most of your bear traps aren't that big. They're not as big as you think they are. There's actually some videos out there. A guy here in Arkansas not too long ago caught a bear in just a regular foothold trap. Mm-hmm. It was a smaller bear, but he called a game of fish. They come out, they released it unharmed and let it go. So that bear went on his way and wasn't harmed.
That's crazy.
But
I couldn't imagine rolling up to a bear in a foot trap.
That would be wild. So trapping itself though is such a great outdoor deal. It's not like duck hunting where say 3 or 4 of us are getting out there and we're in the blind and we're sitting there and we're all having a good time. Trappers by nature are loners. They are. They're just by nature they're loners, and so it's not where 3 or 4 guys are going to go out and go, okay, we're going to go set this one trap or like duck hunting is. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, that's kind of what hurt trappers, I think, being loners, not being members of these associations or members of these groups and sticking together and helping each other. So,
I can see that.
And that's changed in the last years. And she was talking about information. When I first started trapping, you ask any old timer how to catch a mink, because mink were king back then. They were $20 back in the early 80s. And you ask an old timer how to catch a mink, by the foot. That's what he'd say, or in the water.
And you'd be like, all right, I know a little bit, just a tiny bit more than I knew before.
Right. And then I got to go with a friend of mine, Jim Spencer, and he's been a mentor to me, and he was a long line mink trapper. So I got to go on his mink line with him back years ago, and that taught me more in one day than I had learned in 3 or 4 years. So, going with somebody and finding somebody that traps is a big part of it too.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about these associations, all these different state associations, and there's 2 national associations. You go to these people and you're wanting to learn, that's where you're going to learn at. And a lot of these guys will let you ride along with them because they're going to teach you. You know, you're going to learn how to catch that stuff, and you'll learn more from them guys than you will watching any video or anything.
I can
like
imagine,
that.
because they'll tell you the why.
Exactly.
You know, if you ask them questions, I'm sure they'll be like, "Well, the reason we do it this way is because typically."
Absolutely,
you know.
and that's the thing is, you know, if I've got somebody with me in my boat, because I trap mostly from a boat.
Do you?
I'm more of a water trapper than a land trapper, but I can still catch coyotes or cats. It's not a problem. But I just like the water animals. I like the beaver, the otter, the mink, the muskrat. I like catching those. And the river I trap on is a very challenging river because it's up and down all the time. It's controlled by generators and dams. So I have a lot of fluctuating water. So you trust me, I had to learn how to trap all over from moving from South Arkansas to North Arkansas.
I believe it.
It's just totally different. You know, one you're in flat country, one you're in mountains now. So it's totally different terrain. So that's another curve of it is the learning curve. No matter where you're trapping at, you're going to have a learning curve. You take guys that trap up north where trapping's a little bit tougher and the conditions and stuff, some of them guys come to the south. Well, the first thing they do is they have a learning curve. There's cottonmouths down here.
Yeah.
They learn that real quick on the beaver. Wait a minute, that's not a stick. You know,
No, I can imagine. I hate snakes too, man.
So,
I hate
matter of fact, one of the guys that came down from Iowa that we had at our convention, that's one of the things he was telling me when we were talking about. He said, I had to learn about cottonmouths. So, you know, you have to watch all this stuff and learn it because it's just a huge learning curve in trapping. And the one thing I tell a lot of people is you will never quit learning in trapping. Just when you think you got it,
you always get better.
you'll get that one coyote that'll come and crap on your trap, and he'll do it. They'll poop right on your pan because he's been pinched, and he won't just do that one. He'll go down the line and he'll do every one of them.
That's insane.
Or they'll roll.
Dang.
You know, they'll roll.
They'll roll in it.
There's like a dog. If it's something that stinks, they'll roll and set it off. You know.
Yeah.
So, but now we can sit here and talk about, you know, all the complications, but it's simple. Trapping is simple. You can make it as complicated as you want, but at the end of the day, if all you know is to put that trap in the ground and make sure it doesn't wiggle, it's simple. Like, and
it's a good way to start at least.
Yes, it is. And the more you learn, the more complicated you can make it yourself. You know, but a lot of times even we make it harder than it has to be.
Oh, I imagine overthinking it for one.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. We do. I've had trapping partners before, and sometimes we'll team up and do, you know, get a partner to trap with us. And I had this one guy. What would take me 3 minutes to make a set, it'd take him 10 because everything had to be perfect. I mean, it was just crazy how perfect it had to be.
Yeah.
And I'd be just over there going, come on, man, quit. You're killing me. We got to go. You know?
Yeah.
So my husband and I trap together, and we have a saying, if it's good for one, it's good for two. And so, you know, we're in the pine thicket and the wind shifts and swirls, you know, and so what we do is we decide what path we're going to take, and because we don't want to be out handling the trap every day. We just want to drive by and check it.
See 'em,
yeah. And so we take our path, and he sets his side and I set mine. And if he sets a dirt hole, I set a flat set. You know, we do different things for different kinds of appeal and different critters, whatever we're doing. And, you know, sometimes he'll say, why did you do that? And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm thinking if they're going up the hill, they got a flat spot, they'll put their foot there. And he was like, you're not going to catch anything. Well, we come back the next day and I caught something.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, well, I never thought that would work. Well, you know.
Yeah, I imagine it's one of those deals where, like, you get tendencies. And I imagine that can hurt you, too.
It
some,
does.
you know, if you,
It can.
because you can get used to, like, you know, like, oh, that just looks good to me. Just because you naturally know that you put traps there like that often.
Right.
You know, and you might have missed something that you just might have overlooked because that looks familiar.
Take a non-trapper one time on your line. You'll be surprised at how many spots they'll show out you didn't pick.
Right.
And you're going, I probably should put a trap there.
I never
Yeah, it
thought
looks
about
pretty
that.
good.
Yeah. And I'm hard headed. So if somebody tells me I can't, I'm gonna do it twice to prove you wrong. And so that interferes with it interferes with things sometimes because he'll be like, I don't think so. I'm like, watch this.
Yeah, I know. So going back to the fur just one time, touch back on it one more time. I was thinking, I had a thought after you got to explaining it about the prices going up and down and whatnot. And people buy things like silver, gold.
Right.
They sit there and they hang on to it till the price is right.
Right.
Do fur trappers hang on to furs for a period of time, maybe looking for a certain price?
You will have some that will do that, and they'll stretch and dry them or store them in their freezer, and sometimes they store them too long and freezer burn them. But your fur buyers also do that. They buy and will hold stuff, and they call it speculation buying.
Okay.
And it's no different than buying gold or silver or any commodity. You're speculating that price is going to go up later. So if, say, raccoons right now, the price of raccoons, you're lucky if you can get $1 out of them. Those guys that are buying those coons, a lot of them are holding them, and they're holding them in cold storage. And they'll hold them and hopefully until the price goes up. And if the price goes up to $5, they're going to make a little money off of them. Mm-hmm. So they're speculation buying. So you get that. Even with some trappers will do it. I've held mine a few furs over years in certain years, but it's I don't know, it's how do I want to say this? It's kind of weird how the fur market works.
Yeah.
It's a global market. You'll hear people say that, well, my fur's going to stay here. No, your fur's not going to stay here in the United States. It's going to go all over the world. Okay.
Like, who's sending it all over the world, though? So, like, you sell it to somebody.
Right.
And then that person, do they sell it around the world,
right.
or do they sell it to somebody
sell it
that
to
does?
somebody else. And it can change hands several times, going from dealer to to the different buyers. A lot of it ends up in these big international auctions. There's a big one in Canada, Fur Harvesters. There used to be two, but one went out of business. And when it ends up in those international auctions, they have buyers from all over the world come in.
Are these buyers? Are they like clothing makers? Or are they like?
They can be. They can be. Most of them are what I call finishers. They're the guys. They'll buy the fur, and some of them are brokers. They're buying it to sell it to somebody else overseas, or they're buying it for somebody else overseas. And what they'll do is once they get that fur over there, they've got
my mind,
right, and they've got to dress it. What they've got to do is they've got to tan it. They've got to get it tan. The hardest one to tan is beaver. That's the hardest one to dress. China's gotten really good at that. So when
they're worth it though.
Yes, and so once that fur goes over there, then it gets dispersed to whatever market it's going to. So if it's going to say Russia as a utilitarian market, China's a big utilitarian user of fur, but they're also a big fashion user of fur. So they buy two different types of fur. They buy the utilitarian type and they buy the fashion type.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. See, like I said earlier, if you're in it, you know about it.
Right.
And if you're not in it,
Absolutely.
to you, it's like you can't believe there's that much stuff going on with trapping.
And it's not always just fur. Like sometimes we sell bobcats whole, and they skin them out. Taxidermies buy a lot of them.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yes.
And
that's something I didn't even think about.
but there's a skull market, and they use the meat and the glands for bait. And so they'll buy the whole animal, and they use the whole animal, and
Yes.
they make a lot of money on that.
Yeah, it's like a rabbit's foot.
Yeah.
Wasn't lucky for the rabbit.
That's right. That's right. So as you being a hunter, a deer hunter, when you kill a deer, do you skin it out? And do you do like every animal you mess with, or do you just only animals you trap?
So growing up, when you skin a deer, you don't want to mess up the meat.
Right.
So when you go to skin animals for the fur, you got to relearn what you're doing.
I bet it's backwards.
It is. It's backwards.
It's completely different. And so I skin out. I didn't last year because I had some back troubles, but usually I skin everything because I'm meticulous. Like I skinned a squirrel one time, and you should have seen this thing. Like It was growing up, when you skin a squirrel, it's for the meat, and you just,
Rip it off.
not when you're doing it for the hide.
Yeah.
And it changes everything. But yeah, so I skin out everything. I got 2 freezers full of fur. I'm just I'm hanging on to it. I'm gonna make coonskin caps for all my grandkids one of these days.
See, they just pulled up a picture right there.
Yeah.
Where you got, it looks like explain what's all there. I see the coyote in the center. I see
The top is beaver.
that's beaver up there.
Yep, beaver, bobcat.
Yeah, bobcat, and you got coons. See the tails hanging on the...
The whole bottom row pretty much, other than the 3 bobcats.
Well, on the other side, right on the other side of me are otter.
Yeah.
Those are otter right there. See the otter there? And then up right to the left of those otter from where we're looking, you'll see some muskrat and mink hanging in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are all fleshed and dried. They're not tanned. So those are just ready for the raw fur market, what you call the raw. You have 2 ways to sell hides. You can sell them dried or you can sell them green. Green is when they're just skin out, they're rolled up and put in the freezer. They're not done this way right here.
So when I'm seeing, like on the bobcats and the coyote, I see like the coyote the top of his head, and on the bobcats,
You can see the fur out.
So you skin it out all the way around its face, all of it.
Yes.
Yep. Eyes and everything.
You can see it on the beaver too.
Yeah.
Yes, everything. The reason for that is that's just the way the forms, they want them on the forms that way. And there's, believe it or not, there's an aftermarket, what they call a craft market. Some of those buyers, once they send those off and they have them tanned, when they use the parts they're going to use, they'll have leftovers. They'll have like the faces left over. Well, they'll just put them in a bulk box and sell them to somebody who sells them at the flea market down, on Saturday or something like that. And so that's what'll happen to a lot of the tails, except for the skunk tails right now. But that's what happens to a lot of that. It goes to a craft market.
Yeah, see, there's another big wall full of them.
That is my daughter and my son right there, and my son over there. He's a big buck killer. He don't trap. He used to trap some, but he chases them big bucks now. He's a bow hunter.
Beaver.
He's a bow hunter. So
Do y'all cut the beavers to make them that round, or are they just naturally round?
that's the way they're skinned.
You skin them different than anything else.
All the other stuff up there is what's called case skinned. It's where you start at the back feet and then you pull the hide down. The beaver are open skin. You make a cut from the base of the tail all the way to the lower jaw, and then you peel them back.
And they're just round like that.
And that's the way they'll come. They want that oval shape. Now they're not as picky. That was the reason they wanted the oval, was back when it was North American Fur Auctions, Hudson Bay. They wanted them in that oval shape, but now they're not as picky about whether they're oval or round. So
that's a lot of raccoons and stuff right there. Do you have to travel around quite a bit?
all of those right there come off of about a 5-mile section of river.
Really? Oh, the river. All right, the river. Yeah. Okay.
Everything you see in that picture.
That's what I was going to ask. Do y'all have certain areas y'all trap?
Yes.
Do y'all move around?
rotate?
Yeah, we move around.
Rotate around.
There for a long time, I was trapping up in northeast Arkansas. I'd go up, take a week's vacation, and go up there and trap on a big duck and deer club. They had a cabin. I'd go up and stay in their cabin and run traps all.
I'm sure they would invite
there.
you in to do that.
Oh yeah,
as well.
absolutely. There's people,
Yeah.
and there's other ones that they get paid to go do that.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just, that matter of fact, that was a nuisance job right there. I got paid to catch those beaver.
Funny thing about the beaver is on their back foot, they have 2 claws on one toe that they use.
What?
Yeah, they have
Yes.
two toes.
Two
Two claws,
on one.
split claw.
Yep, and it's for grooming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's insane.
The beaver is a very unique animal. They have an oil sac back there, and that oil sac's what they oil their fur with, and they'll use that split claw to groom themselves to get that oil in their fur. And they also have what's called castoreum.
What is that?
We're fixing to make a lot of
it
people
smells
probably
like-
not eat vanilla ice cream.
It smells like money.
It does. It's a gland they have that they excrete for their territories. They mark their territories with it. Have you ever been?
That's not vanilla ice cream.
Believe it or not, it was FDA approved, and they used it in vanilla ice cream at one time. So
At one time.
And I love
Well,
vanilla ice cream, too.
vanilla flavoring.
it's a vanilla flavoring.
Vanilla
It
flavoring.
really it does have a really. It smells like vanilla, and you get. I know you've seen a castor mound.
Yeah.
If you've been duck hunting, you've seen that pile of mud pulled up on the bank. That's their territory. And beavers are very territorial. The neat thing about a beaver is they push their young out every 2 years. They push them out. They make them leave.
Get going.
So the ones that are born there that year, they're fine. But the ones that are, once they're 2 years old, they push them out. A 2-year-old beaver, when he's traveling, will not make a castor mound set because the other beaver in that area will kill him. They're that territorial. He's got to go out and find his own territory. They've got to
Establish
find
his
their
own
spot,
place.
His own place.
And
That's
they,
crazy.
if you take all the beavers out of an area, they will move into that area.
Yeah.
Instead
They'll
of
move.
rebuilding, they just move in.
And I'm seeing the different size. Is that just the difference in a male and female, or just an older beaver?
The biggest beaver there, she was a female. Catching her that day was a plus because if you catch all the smaller beaver first, the males and then the young, that female beaver will hold up for about 2 weeks and she will not come out. And she does that because she knows something's wrong.
Yeah,
she knows. Yeah, she's
the
like, wait a
hardest-
minute.
She's
Everybody's
the
been
hardest to
missing.
catch. Can you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, what is
that's a
that?
split toe.
That's the two claws.
Oh,
On
here,
beaver.
hold it up to the camera real close. I probably better see it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep, that's the
Wow.
split toe on the back of the foot. They're unique animals. They are.
Weird looking
They're very
thing right
unique.
there.
Yeah, it is.
I've seen a beaver's tail, like the tailbones.
Yes.
That's an odd looking thing.
Yeah, and there's a market for the tails. There's people who make wallets out of those tails.
Really?
They tan the leather and make wallets out of them, and they're very expensive.
And I don't know if every county, but I think most counties have a bounty on them. So, like, I know Grant
What is
County.
the bounty? By chance?
It's $15. Well, you get
Per
like
tail?
10. Yeah,
tail.
per tail. So you get like 10 from the state and 5 from the county and Grant County. And all that is if you're catching beaver in that county, then you're saving them money.
Yeah.
Because those beaver
Timber and-
are out flooding timber. They're stopping up culverts, and the county has to do the maintenance and replace those. And so, I mean, they can pay you $15 per beaver and saves them thousands of dollars.
Yes.
So you saying that reminds me of causing issues, costing money. It reminds me of hogs, right? The hog problem
I saw one
So-
this morning on the way to work.
is as being trappers. Do you see people that trap hogs as trappers, or are those like a whole, like a
that's a whole different
Like a
group.
step-
That's a whole niche group
stepchild
over there.
to-
Yeah, it's kind of like a
yeah?
stepchild.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
They use a lot bigger
equally
traps.
necessary.
Oh,
it's
it
just,
is.
But-
it's just a different.
By the same token, there's guys out there right now who are snaring these hogs. So they're snaring them just like they would snare a coyote. And the reason they're doing that is they can remove a lot of hogs, believe it or not, doing that.
Hogs are
there's-
very intelligent,
Yeah,
very
they are.
intelligent, and you can
They're a problem.
teach them real quick.
And the thing is about them is like there's so many of them. There's such a big problem, and they're moving north. They're pushing up. I remember as a kid in Leola, you would hear about people seeing a
Right.
hog once every 3 years. You never seen them. Now
They're
everywhere.
everywhere. They're done pushed up. There's hogs down here. It's terrible. And the game of fish, they're like, just kill them any means necessary.
Yeah.
Trap them any means necessary. Like
They actually have a really cool program for
What?
hog trapping.
what I was gonna ask was like how there's a price to beaver tail. What if they did a hog like
Bounty.
a bounty?
If they did a bounty, you would probably see a lot more people going after hogs.
That's what I was
I
thinking.
don't know why they don't.
They really need to. I would
yeah.
think.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
what
I
would be
said,
the issue with
I
it?
saw one this morning on in the river bottoms there headed to work. So
Well,
There's so many.
It's kind of like, and as you talk about invasive species like hogs, the wild hog population, nutria rats. That's another invasive species that's moving north, and eventually they're already seeing those in southern Missouri.
Yeah.
And the nutria rats come out of Louisiana, and they've just gradually started moving north, and they have a bounty in Louisiana for them. They don't hear yet, but they do in Louisiana. And they do, to me, a lot more damage than a beaver does.
Really.
Yes, because they can breed so many times a year. They're
Yeah.
kind of like a rabbit. And the second thing they can do is they're burrowers, more so than a beaver. Where beavers will make a bank den, these things will make several bank dens, and they can just erode a levee really quick.
Just move the river.
Oh, yeah, they can. They can basically change the course of a waterway because of the erosion they can cause.
Yeah. To me, as far as like issues like that goes, like the only way to incentivize people to pick up the hobby of doing it is to throw a little bit of money at it. with a
It
bounty.
is. It is.
Well, they have a program going right now, and I don't know the exact details, but I know at one point they were like, if you bought a hog trap that was on their
Yes.
list, they paid you like 75% of that price back.
Yep.
And then you turn in pictures and stuff, and so you're like a part of a program.
Yep.
And I know they've had some success with that.
Yeah, well, when we first got our pig brig, which is a net style trap,
Right.
you know, and they basically burrow under it and then they can't get out of it, and it's really effective.
And
it's easy to put up and it's effective because you can catch the whole
Group.
the group of them.
Right, and you're not educating them
Yeah,
as much as you do with the old fashioned,
Yeah.
style. And so I don't have one of them personally, but I know someone that does.
yeah,
and
they
they've
work great.
They've had great success
They
with
do.
those.
They work really well.
Y'all want to answer a few of the questions?
Yeah, let's look at them.
Baiting versus lures.
Yeah, what is there a difference?
There
Between luring and
is.
baiting?
Lures are just mainly for smell. That's what they are. You have long distance call lures, which will have skunk smell in them. You have just different gland lures that'll have the glands of certain animals in them,
Right.
Like coyote glands or bobcat glands or fox glands. Where bait is more of a food source for them. Okay, early season baiting's probably. They're not as much attracted to bait. They're running around. They still got plenty of mice, stuff to feed on. Where they're more attracted to lures. You get later into the winter when there's less to eat. They'll get more attracted to the bait.
I can see that.
So it's a change for them. And most trappers use a conjunction of bait and lure when they're trapping.
So a coyote, so if I cook meatloaf for supper and my husband walks in, he smells meatloaf. So a coyote would smell the beef, the salt, the pepper, the tomatoes, the crackers, whatever you put in it.
Right.
He smells in layers.
Yes.
And so a lot of times, if that's what they're interested in, the more smells you have, the more they're going to work your set. If
Right.
you
The
have
more
a-
likely that
Yeah.
you have something
because
that
they're gonna
they'll come in after.
they're gonna investigate and they want to know what every one of those smells are. So if you've got a lure here and a bait here and a lure here, he's gonna sniff all of that, which means he's there and he's moving,
Right.
and he's not gonna just and leave.
Yeah.
So he's working your set.
investigate it.
Yeah.
And,
so,
and the thing with that is if your first year coyotes, they'll come to anything. Because he's young, he's dumb, he's stupid, he's like a teenager, he don't know no better. He's going to go for whatever he can get.
Right,
well,
right.
look, that smells good. But you get a coyote that's got a couple of years on him, he's a bundle of nerves walking around. He's not like a first year coyote. And if he gets pinched, he's not going to come back to that smell.
ever.
No, he will not come back to that. He knows that smells bad. Now something
And
else,
that's it too.
he'll come to, but he won't come to that particular lure you're using. You'll have to change up. And that's because he knows what it is. That's bad. Okay, that one's not bad because I hadn't smelled that one yet, but that one's bad. So
Yeah, I can see that. I can see
that's
that.
what they do.
It's easy to pick up on that and learn it.
we got one here. There's one there, the pan tension, and it kind of falls for fox and all others, and it also kind of falls into the whole pan tension thing. I'm not a big fan of pan tension. I like my pans to just freely drop.
And when you're saying pan, for people that might not know, that's the
Right.
flat surface that's in the middle of the trap.
Right, that's where that animal's going to put his foot. That's
Right.
what he's going to step on to trigger that trap.
Okay.
And once he steps on that, if that pan has any tension at all, and if you're going after everything, so you're going after bobcats, fox, and coyotes, you want a way lower pan tension. But if you were strictly going after coyotes, you can get that pan tension up there to about 4 pounds. And there's a tester out there that you can order. You can go online and find them. They'll test the tension of that pan, and you just push it on there and push it down. It'll have little marks, and it's telling you how many pounds is on that pan. And the way you adjust that is there's a little brass bolt and nut, and you just loosen it or tighten it to get whatever pan tension you want.
I got you.
But
And
also what that means is if you got it set on 4 pounds, you're only going to catch a coyote. Anything, if a fox or bobcat or something, if it steps on it and it doesn't have that much weight,
It won't go off.
It won't go off.
And that's why you keep it light, because you're wanting to catch whatever.
right, if I'm wanting
Right.
to catch the fox and the bobcat, I want a lighter pan tension. I want a pan tension less of a pound. It's like mink trapping. There was a little video they had on there. that I sent y'all. A mink trapping, you want absolutely zero pan tension. You want that pan as soon as that foot touches it to fire off, because he's a very light animal. He is. There's the
Pretty
video
quick,
right
too.
there.
Okay, we've got our fence right here that we made day before yesterday, and here's the surprise.
So you set that. Where did you originally set that? Trap
Right up
at?
in under that grass, there's a little ledge under there. And those mink will run right behind that grass, right up in that little ledge right there. And you'll actually see me set the trap back up in under there. My wife was filming that standing on a culvert. So it's actually pretty good video from my phone.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So you're not using no kind of lure or bait?
No
when you're
kind of
doing
lure or
this?
You're
bait
just
on
on
those.
a trail, a beat down, like you
Mink-
know,
right.
you know he's going to go there.
Mink are creatures of habit. They run the edges. That's basically all you need to know to catch a mink, is they run the edges. Now you get up north, it's a whole different game. Up there, they use a lot of what they call pocket sets. They'll dig a hole back in and put bait in it, but their winters are colder, and those mink up there are more susceptible to bait
Right.
than the mink down here. You put a piece of fish in there, you're gonna have a raccoon and a possum the next day.
Yeah.
You know, and if it warms up a little bit, you're gonna have some stinky fish and a possum. So
That's pretty cool, though. That's just an example of you looking at the layout and knowing that.
absolutely, little guide piece of grass in there. I'll stick right by the trap to guide it, and there's a mink.
Heck yeah. So would you ever, in a situation, say you're trapping, you're on a trail, and would you kind of brush up certain areas to try to
Yes.
lure them, like keep them
Yes.
from maybe walking to the side of it?
Yes,
Like, keep 'em where he sets
you
it
want
right there?
you can guide. Animals are creatures of habit. They're like us
Right.
in a way. You're going to take the path of least resistance anywhere you're going. Okay, if you're on, say you're in New York City, you're walking down a sidewalk and there's a ton of people, you're going to take the least path of resistance through those people, right? Mm-hmm. Coyotes the same way, bobcat same way. They're going down a trail. That trail's the easy path. That's what they're going to walk, and so they don't want to veer off of that trail because there's other stuff in their way. They got to go around this or that. Deer do the same thing, and when that coyote's going down that trail, if you get a wide spot in that trail, now he can step anywhere in that trail. But if you wanted to hang a snare in that wide spot, you just pull some brush in, like you said, and you just brush it down, and then you can hang that snare in that spot and catch that coyote.
Yeah, just funnel it in.
Coyotes are they're real cautious though. You don't want to do a whole lot, and what you do, it has to be extremely natural.
Yes.
Now
That's crazy.
yeah, because if it looks wonky, they're out.
Remember what I said? He's a bundle of nerves.
Right. But now bobcats are not that
I
way.
want to know the trick on catching bobcats, 'cause I got a bobcat problem.
Bobcats, where you live, I can help you with that.
Magnolia.
Oh, I can't check them after work every day. But bobcats, they're curious. Like
They are.
I have literally taken a can out of the back of the truck and pocket knife and cut like a ribbon and turned it inside out and hung it with some fishing line.
See, I did that on. I set a couple traps this past season, and I hung a CD above on
Yeah.
a limb.
Yes.
They love
yes.
flashy. Love flashy.
Anything that I use a little fake white fur you can get at Hobby Lobby. Or,
Yep, we had that out too.
And hang it, but you want it where it's going to blow, where it's going to move. Whatever you're using, you want it to move.
Well, we had it burrowed down where you had to dig.
If you
or
got it
something.
hanging above that set, just don't use any animal matter because, like she said
Right.
earlier, 20 foot is as close as you can have animal matter.
But you can buy like white feathers at Walmart in the craft section and take a split shot. Like you can just hang them from, or Christmas tinsel. Christmas.
So, what kind of lure do you put for bobcat? Do you do lure or?
Yes.
Yep. It just depends. Like they're not real picky. They like all kinds of stuff. Anything will bring them in. Like they're
Anything
they're
won't.
very-
I didn't catch one.
A really good quick lure for cats is catnip oil. Just go get you some of that catnip oil at the pet store. And it's
makes
just get that
sense.
pure catnip oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
can see
they,
that.
they make what they call a rub set when you can use this catnip oil for that. And what you do is you just take you a stake and put a piece of carpet on it and drive it in the ground. But you want that carpet, the bottom of that carpet probably about a foot high and then about a foot of carpet. And you just spray that with that catnip oil and that bobcat will come in there and rub on that. And you
Really?
bed your trap right below it. You'll catch them.
Yeah.
They're
I never would have guessed that.
Bobcats are probably one of the easiest ones to catch, and the reason being is because
That's funny.
they mainly it's their travel patterns.
Right.
Once you learn their travel patterns, they're easy to catch. Just you find a bobcat track, make a set.
Right there.
That's simple.
Well, I know where they're going. I see them
Make
deer
us-
hunting all the time.
Make a set right there.
Just
And
out of range of my deer stand.
And don't make one set. Make 3 or 4 sets.
And make sure you take your blood pressure medicine, because
They blend in very well.
you'll walk right up on them and never even know it. And next thing you know, it's a
Oh man.
They
Yeah.
you will,
Imagine, be like, oh, I didn't catch him. Walk
You-
up to
absolutely you'll
Right.
Check them in the daylight.
Oh, last year I caught one on a drag, and what a drag is, like, it's not anchored in the ground. It's just a like a fork that's like twisted, and it catches on like a
Brush and stuff.
brush and stuff, and keep them from going too far. But you got a 10-foot chain on it, and I caught one on a drag, and like we were up on the old railroad tracks, going downhill on both sides, and we're like, oh no, where is this thing? And it was like tangled up in a top, and it was fun.
I can imagine, because it's one thing I wouldn't want to wrestle around with is a bobcat.
Yeah.
Right, and they do. They blend in real well. Another question I see up there is freezing weather. Best traps for freezing weather. If you're up north, down here we don't worry about that too much because we don't have the long freezes like they do up north. If you were, say, somebody up north in northern Indiana, northern Illinois, Ohio, up in those areas, I would use a 4-coil trap. Down here, 4 coils not necessary for coyote or bobcat. 2
Kind of
coils
explain
fine.
that. Explain what that is.
Your coil spring traps, you'll have the springs themselves are coiled up steel springs. And by adding those extra 2 coils, they're smaller coils, what they do is they give that trap more power coming out of the ground.
I got you.
So if you got more freezing weather, that's going to give you a little bit extra power coming out of the ground. A lot of guys up there, they use waxed dirt or buckwheat hulls.
We do too.
I don't use the waxed dirt. I use peat moss more than anything. Because it's cheap. I can get it at the, anywhere they sell nursery supplies. You can get the peat moss, and the peat moss you can just sift it out, let it dry, and it's good to go. But as far as the freezing weather down here, we don't have to worry about it down here in the state of Arkansas that much, or in the South. But up north they do. So like a lot of those guys up there, they'll make big old. They'll have a 55-gallon drum of waxed dirt. And it's a lot of work to make that stuff. But if you're going to trap a lot of canines and a lot of cats and stuff in those areas, you're going to have that waxed dirt up north.
Well, actually, we use a lot of it here because where we trap, the ground gets wet, and it. I mean, if it gets below freezing for a day or two, the ground will freeze and them traps on fire.
Yeah.
So, but during the summertime, we get dirt, we spread a tarp, and we get some wax, and we just throw it out there and we stir it up every day because it gets so hot in the summertime.
Yeah.
Melts.
That it and another thing, a lot of times I'll just go over to a pine tree and pull the top back and get where the mulch and stuff under that instead of buying it. I use that a lot, but
I can
we're
see
in a
that.
pine thicket,
Yeah, there's
so
plentiful.
it's readily available.
Yeah.
But the ground will freeze a lot, so we only use it when the bad weather's coming in. Otherwise, we don't need
Here
stuff
don't
like
really
that.
get that extreme, I wouldn't reckon.
Right.
There-
So we don't go through a whole lot
There's
of
one
it.
right there that I'm going to touch on is the dyeing and painting your traps. You can dye your traps if you want to. You can paint them. And a lot of reasons for the dye, one is to protect the trap, and 2 is scent control. You have a lot of guys that get hung up on scent control. Don't get hung up on scent control.
Right.
That
They know you're
coyote
there.
knows you've been there, okay? Now, 50 years ago, 50, 60, 100 years ago, when there wasn't as many people, scent control was a big deal. But now there's people everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Coyotes, they know what a human smells like. They know what a tractor smells like. They know what a rusty fence smells like. So, don't get hung up on scent control. As far as dyeing and painting your traps, that's just a personal preference. We had a lady that was one of in our association at one time. All her traps were hot pink. She painted them hot pink. Caught coyotes and bobcats in them.
That's pretty wild.
So there's people on there that paint them blue. They paint them all different colors. So it doesn't matter.
That's probably then just totally reference.
It is. It's just
Preference.
preference. It is. It's preference.
So, like with me and my husband, my traps are one color and his traps are another.
Yeah.
And then our dog proofs that we set out, we paint them white so that if we're we got creek bridges and stuff, and if we go down the creek bed and set traps, we can check them from the road because that white is going to stand out.
Right.
And we don't have to,
Did you say dog proof?
Yes,
proof.
dog proof.
All right, go ahead and explain what that means. It means like you will not catch a dog.
It won't. It's a cylinder.
That's when they dig into.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so
Coons mainly.
Yes.
coons,
Raccoon.
possums, skunks, they can reach in there, and when they pull their paw out, they pull a trigger, and it catches them.
Yeah,
And those are perfect for
That's-
kids and
that's what they do with that bear.
chicken
in
pens.
Maine.
It is.
They had it in the
They
tube.
have a cylinder.
And he put his hand in there. He was digging out some corn or something. I don't know what he's getting. Getting his wrist.
Yeah.
Yep, those foot snares like that. They use those not only on bears, they also use them overseas to study tigers and stuff with.
I couldn't even imagine.
It's amazing how many.
you know.
It's amazing people go, hey, we want these animals released in our area, like those wolves and stuff out there. But I guarantee you, they didn't go here puppy to catch them.
Right, they had to trap them.
They trapped them and they released them unharmed. So, you've got one side that are people who are conservation minded, like the trappers and
Right.
duck hunters and deer hunters and water, fishermen and all of us. We're all conservation minded. Then you have the other side, which is emotionally minded. They play on their emotions. And they don't care about the conservation side. They just play on the emotional side. So if you ever get into anything dealing with some of these people, these animal rights people and stuff, you're going to deal with emotions.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all you're going to deal with. They
That's
don't know
right.
they don't deal in facts, they deal in emotions.
Well, I mean, it's like, when they dump gray wolves back into an ecosystem and it starts just slaughtering elk.
Absolutely.
It's like,
absolutely.
it's like, look at that.
But they're
That's as
cute and fuzzy.
That's as natural as it gets, you know?
It is. It is.
I actually added PETA on Facebook just so I can make fun of them.
See, that's something I would do.
Like used to comment on all their stuff.
Don't say to people for eating tasty animals.
No, it don't matter what you're into. There's going to be people that fight against it.
They
Right.
are, and it doesn't matter if it's hunting, fishing, trapping, or if you're swimming down on a swimming hole. Somebody's going to be mad about it at some point in time.
And what we do, the way we do it, is way more humane than how the animals take care of themselves in the wild. I mean,
really,
it is.
yeah.
It really is.
Oh yeah, if you've never run across raccoons dying of parvo or distemper, that is a sight to see. It'll make you think about another reason we need to trap.
Yeah.
Overcrowded
overcrowded.
populations are
They'll just
horrible.
die out, and it's horrible for them.
And I tell you what, though, back to turkey hunting, we was talking about earlier, is the reason we got started. Within a year, our population doubled. Within 2 years of just me and my husband trapping 3,000 acres.
Yeah.
Within 2 years, it doubled.
Oh, it
And-
helps.
And I mean, like now we get game camera pictures and the whole thing is just full of turkeys. There'd
Yeah.
be 30, 40 turkeys. Whereas 3 or 4 years ago, you couldn't find a turkey. If you got one on camera, it was a miracle.
Big deal.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so now in our lease, anybody that goes turkey hunting, everybody killed a turkey this last year. Nobody was out there not able to find one.
Right.
And that's just from my husband and
Keeping
I.
them alive.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Out
take,
there.
taking away some
Right.
of the predators. that
It
are
does.
just
Right.
Killing them out.
And we're not just out there slaughtering them. We catch, on the lease, we catch like 30, 40 critters a year, and
But it adds up, though. 'cause
it
like,
does. It makes a huge
adds
difference.
up.
One question that was asked was, what's the main luxury item in your pack? And the main one I have is my S-hook setting tool. It's a tool designed to close and open S-hooks. That's
Really?
because other than that, you're going to have 3 or 4 pair of pliers trying to pry these things. That
I
one
know
tool
how that
does
goes.
that
I
one
know how
tool
it goes.
does it all right there.
It makes a huge difference.
It is a huge difference. That's probably my biggest luxury item.
That's your
right
go-to,
there.
huh?
That's my go-to.
I've had some back problems, and so we went from. I mean, the hardest part of making a set is hammering it in. I mean, that is the absolute set day is like the best workout ever.
Yeah.
And so we went to drags and cables. So that
Just to make it less laborious on
right
sets.
right.
Okay.
And so I set a lot of drags and cables last year, and it made my life a whole lot easier.
I
so
bet.
Yeah,
I
it
bet.
made a difference.
Is it quicker to, like, say we're going to pull a trap up and move sets? Is it
Yeah.
easier with
Yes,
it being
it's
like
a lot
that?
quicker
Yeah.
with a drag.
Because I imagine with it being hammered in, it'd be
Especially where we, you know,
Yeah.
we at one point we were trying to pull one with a truck, and we could not pull this thing out of the ground with a truck.
The stakes that a lot of us use now are not the stakes that years ago. We don't use the rebar stakes like we used to. We have what they call a disposable stake.
Right.
It's a piece of metal and it's got a cable on it or a chain on it, and you drive it in the ground, and when you yank on it, it'll go down like this, but when you yank on it, it'll come back like this.
Right.
It
You can't budge
It's
it.
there.
Yeah, it's
that's
there.
What, that's what I used.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
Earth
So like
anchors.
you're pretty much like the only thing you're missing is actually getting the job done.
Yeah.
At this
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
It sounds like he had all the stuff to do. He had the easiest
My
target to go
father-in-law
after.
had everything.
Well, okay, so we have a Facebook page. Are you
Yes.
are you a member of our Facebook page?
I'm not.
Okay, so with you being in Magnolia, you're actually in my district. And so we have a district page as well. And there are people on that page that live down there. And so if you were on our page, you could say, hey, I've got a bobcat problem. I've done this, this, and this. Is there anybody that could come help me get started or come, you know, work with me? And that's the good thing about the association is somebody's always willing to help.
And-
Absolutely.
Always.
And go ahead and tell them the name of the district page.
Okay, it's District 8 Arkansas Trappers Association.
Okay.
And I am.
Is that El Dorado too? Is that all
Yes.
the same district?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, District 8.
District 8, I am, let's see, Grant, Hot Spring, and I'm Ouachita, Dallas, Calhoun, Nevada, Union, and Columbia, I believe.
It's a pretty big district.
Yes, it is. And I'm
It
at the
is.
top of it. You know, but it's, we don't do just a whole lot as districts, but, you know, we
We do put on some one-day workshops.
That's right.
Yeah, and if you're on that page, you'll see when one of those one-day workshops is happening, and then you can go to that and
Right.
get a lot of learning from the
That's
one-day
pretty cool.
workshops.
So-
Yeah, I definitely learned some stuff.
So each district has a page, and then we have just one
The general
Arkansas
page.
Trapper
Right,
Association
right.
page.
There's
Yeah.
9 districts in the state.
I got you.
Okay, and there's a lot of learning that you can do on those. We also have a YouTube channel, Arkansas Trappers TV.
Okay.
You can go on there. There's not a lot of videos on it yet. We're still getting videos from viewers and getting those put on there when we get them.
So y'all are accepting like viewer videos
Yes.
to post up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the reason we want that is, if we got, one of our viewers that he's been trapping for, say, 20 or 30 years, and he makes a set and he catches, something in it, or he's showing how to make a set, that's learning for somebody else. That's
Right.
that's educational for that other
It's a
person.
bunch of different point of views too.
It
It's like
is.
one
It
person
is.
goes and teaches,
It is.
tries to teach all the skills. You're getting his perspective of it.
Right.
There's
And
more than just that when it comes
And
to
every
trapping.
time I go to a demo, no matter where that demo is or who's doing it, I usually learn something from that demo. So you're going to be
Absolutely.
constantly learning. And you may see something that, hey, I never thought about trying that, and you'll try it and it works for you. Or, it may not work in your area. And I think animals get accustomed to certain things. If you use the same lure over and over and over, eventually they're going to get accustomed to that, and you're going to have to change up.
One of the things that I learned, just on a random set, on a random demo, a guy that he's from South Arkansas down around Chittister. He did a workshop for us, and he was doing a bobcat demo, and he said bobcats love a burnt log. Like if you're,
Who'd have thought?
yeah, just if you build a fire, just grab your burnt log, put it in your truck, and throw it out on the set. And I mean, he brings a truckload of cats to the fur sale,
So he's got a
And-
line down.
He knows the
Right.
thing to do.
He knows
Right.
how to catch
And I mean, who would have thought a burnt log?
That's just trial and error.
Yeah,
It is.
it's curiosity, and so it's just something like another guy said a fox loves a white rock, and so I got a truck bed full of white rocks. I find a big one, I'm like, hey, that'll
That's a
work.
nice white
yeah,
rock.
I'm just throwing the truck,
Well, that's awesome. I think we're getting close to time now, but I think we'll end on one thing, and this is a question for y'all. Who's the best trapper to ever live?
Who's the best trapper that ever
The-
lived? Ooh, that would be a tough question.
The most renowned trapper that comes to your mind? What do you think?
Probably the most renowned trapper that comes to my mind would be some of the guys up north, E.J. Daly, that these guys are long gone now. O.L. Butcher. Because when I was reading those fur fishing game magazines, those were some of the guys I was reading. And if you've never read any of those old stories and stuff from them guys back in those days, those guys were tough. They would go out in the Adirondack Mountains in New York and camp out for months trapping, and they didn't take a lot with them. I mean, they was pretty roughing it.
Yeah, they're not weekend warriors.
It's kind of like what we're doing this weekend. We're roughing it.
Yeah, we're not roughing it like that.
No.
but if I had to say famous trappers, and I would say the guys that came before us, the guys that trapped, during the big fur trade back during the mountain man days, though, those guys right there, you look at what they went through. Oh, my
real deal.
Gosh, Indians.
Brutal.
They had everything going, after them.
Yeah.
And
Still doing it.
See, I don't know. I don't know all the history, but I know that him and a couple other guys in the association, Mike Fisher, Aaron Hitchcock, those guys made a difference in my life.
Right. So it's different,
yeah,
for just the experience when you got started,
And that's one thing I love about the association. These guys, I went to Mike Fisher and I said, this fox stole my bone. He dug up my trap. I cannot catch this fox to save my life. And he told me exactly what to do, what lure to use, the white rock and a pine cone. And
that's insane.
This guy was catching 300 fox a year ago. So
and
wow.
Matter of fact,
insane.
He just caught his 15,000th beaver of his life. And so those guys
kept up with it.
Yeah,
that's what's even crazier to me.
Yeah, I mean he's got some serious information.
Yes.
And so these guys are my heroes. They're the ones. And me being a female, they never once ever treated me any less than a trapper. I've never been looked at as a woman. I was a trapper.
Right.
And that makes a big difference to me because, I might have to do things a little bit different, but I'm an equal.
Right.
And
the same game.
Yeah.
same game.
And it makes a big difference.
And I'm going to touch on what she just said right there, being a female in the trapping world. Right now, that is the largest growing group of trappers is females right now. Women are really getting into the trapping. There's several Facebook pages that are geared strictly toward women. There's a lot of women out there right now that are really getting into the trapping. So
that's cool.
It's interesting that's happening.
It is interesting because you got to look at what is going on in the closet,
right.
Like
and if I could say one thing about it, don't be a woman. Don't use that as that's not leverage. Just be a trapper.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And some women can't set traps with their hands. They got to do it with their feet. Everybody's different. You got to do what you got to do.
That's right.
But just be a trapper.
That's cool. I mean, it's cool. It's definitely, I figured out a lot more today about trapping.
I did too. I'm going to catch them now.
I'm probably going to go with him just to watch it.
Listen, we love trapping, and if you have the opportunity to go to a workshop or a convention, do it.
Yes.
Because
learn something.
These people they will. The convention ends on Saturday, and Sunday at noon we're still sitting there talking about trapping. I promise you, we just.
Yep. My father-in-law just started doing it last year, and he got into it pretty good. He caught a lot. I mean, I guarantee he's going to do it again this year.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. He was over there coaching me.
I was fixing to ask that same question.
It'll change your life for sure.
Well, maybe we'll see what Shockley catches this year. Maybe we'll put the camera with Shockley and see if we can get it done.
Join our Facebook group and post some pictures.
Post
let us
some pictures,
know. Ask questions. We're
Video. Like if I don't catch that, just post a picture of nothing.
Video yourself making a set. Video yourself making a set.
Yeah, what am I doing wrong?
Exactly.
We can nitpick pick it apart. We'll break
Somebody
it down.
will tell you what you're doing wrong.
Oh, I guarantee you. Even if you're doing it right, they'll tell you what you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You got it, buddy, for sure. But somebody's gonna say something. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks you for coming, and
thank y'all.
Thank you for having us.
Learned a ton of stuff, and guys, if you want to see more stuff like this, let us know. Make sure you leave a like, hit the bell for notifications, and we'll catch you on the next one.